Good afternoon and welcome back to the channel. For those who do not know me, I am Danielle, better known as Danielle Happy Medium in the industry. And what we're going to do today is sitting in the power technique for awareness. And this awareness should allow us to get a better understanding of us versus the spirit world, and also allow us to explore the spirit world more through the spirit world and not through the psychic parameter. Now, I talked a little bit about this on the Sunday Live, so if you're coming across the Sitting in the Power technique for the first time, then why not come on over to our channel, check out the channel, the content. If you're interested in mediumship and mediumship development, then my channel may be, something that you're interested in or something you may like, so do give this video a like and maybe come on over and subscribe to the channel. The couple of little bit of sort of pointers we're going to do with this one. So before we get started, I sort of want to make it aware that it is guided, but what I really want you to do is to take this Sitting in the Power and listen to it or do it a couple of times and then go away and do it of your own free will. It's important that we understand and not get used to doing guided sort of meditations or Sitting in the Power. This is more of an outline. It's sort of the basics, if I could say that, too, the fundamentals underneath the underpinning of the reasons as to why what we do is what we do. So I always want to say to you, by all means, do allow me to guide you on this occasion, but further down the line, try to sort of guide yourselves or go in with the intention of what you've learned within this Sitting in the Power, so that basically we are allowing the spirit world and the intelligence to work with our mind more and sort of eradicate the physical aspects of us, or the mediumistic, the psychic parameter of which that we may be using. So that's just a little bit of a sort of a heads up on the Sitting in the Power. Further to that, we obviously want to be somewhere that's quiet. We want to be somewhere where that's sort of settled. You can do this with music, without music. I will put music with this, but I always recommend to really sit with no music. But for the purposes of the guided sort of side of it, I will put the music behind the back of my voice so that you can get the both aspects from it. I sometimes, for me, find that music sort of distracts me a little bit, but I know some people do like it. So I would like you to really do both half and half, or do some with the music and then other times without the music, see which one works for you most. Obviously, as I've just said, you want to be somewhere quiet. Only going to be in there for about 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes. I always say to students or to anybody who's coming across, the channel, or even come across Sitting in the Power, best to start in small chunks. We don't really want to be sitting for hours and hours and hours, because a lot of that will probably be the imagination or the psychic parameter. So I always say to people, just start out with 10 minutes and then build from there, progressively make it longer and sit for longer periods of time. That doesn't mean to say that you can't sit on like every day for 10 minutes, but I would say in the beginning, or even for those who are the more advanced, 10 minutes is enough. 10 minutes is enough to be able to get through what we need to get through. And then obviously if you're the beginner and you're sort of advancing, then you obviously add more time to it. So we're just going to be doing about 10 minutes today. So if you're comfortable, we'll begin. So what I want you to do, or what I'd like you to do, right from the beginning is we don't ever want to force the mind anyway. We don't want it to sort of be, pushed to do things. What we really want to do is get the body and the mind and sort of our soul all working in harmony. And one of the things that I find with Sitting in the Power is it's very important. What we want to do is we just want to sit. And what we want to do is just recognize where we are today. Most of you might be doing this, you've had quite a busy day. Just recognize where you are. And what I mean by recognize is look at the breath, look at your chest, look at where your breathing's at. Most of us throughout the day will take big gulps of air, or our breathing will become faster because we're busy and we've got busy lifestyles. So before we do any sort of Sitting in the Power, and when we want the best from it, we really want to get somewhere comfortable, and we really just want to check in and check in, and that makes us present. One of the biggest things with Sitting in the Power is to be present. We don't want the mind, over there. We don't want it still with the day-to-day stuff. So for a few moments before we even get into, the backwards and forwards of moving the mind and the awareness of the mind, we want to find out a present spot. We want to reach for the best present spot that we have. And the quickest and fastest way to do that with your eyes open is to check in with the breath. And when we check in with the breath, we're going to become very aware of how fast or how slow that breath is going, whether we're taking big gulps, whether we're taking short sort of panting breaths. And what we want to do is we want to get a natural rhythm. Now, everybody's rhythm's different, but we want a natural rhythm of your breathing. And the reason we do this for is because ultimately that's going to regulate you through the sitting in the power, and that's also going to keep the fear under control. One of the biggest things when sitting in the power is the fear of the unknown, the fear of what's going to happen. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get the mind under control. We're going to now work in harmony with the breath, and the breath will then regulate the mind and regulate the body. So when you're sitting, wherever you're sitting, check in. Find that present moment. It may take a couple of minutes, might take, a little bit longer. Some of you may already be there, some of you might still be finding that. And I feel that's really important within this intro to really sort of just find that breath, find that rhythm. And if that means now taking the attention to either your chest, keeping your eyes open here, we're not closing any eyes, we're not doing anything, we're not going anywhere. We're just taking the attention to the chest, or we're taking the attention to your nose, and you're just going to find that breath. You're going to find out how your chest is rising and falling, how the breath is coming out the nose, and what's going to happen is as we start to do that, the body's naturally going to relax. It's naturally going to start to come into sync with it. And what's happening there is now the mind, the body, and the breath are now starting to sync together. And as they're syncing together, you're naturally going to want, over a period of time, naturally going to want to close your eyes. It's a bit like going to sleep, but we're not going to sleep. But that's what happens when we go to sleep. So we want to keep that natural rhythm as much as possible. So while I'm talking, some of you are probably already there, some of you are probably still trying to find it. And what we want to do is just find that natural breath. At times within this video, it will go quiet as you allow you some moments to sort of adjust and shift. So as we're finding that natural rhythm of the breath, and as we're finding we're starting to calm down and we're starting to become more aligned and we're starting to bring everything into sync, what will naturally happen, as I say, the eyes will naturally want to close. And we just want them to naturally close. We don't want to push them anywhere. We don't want to do anything with them. We just want to allow them to close of their own free will. Now, once they close, we're now sitting in awareness of ourselves. We haven't moved anywhere. We haven't gone anywhere. And what we need to do is we need to just keep with the natural rhythm of that flow of the breath. So all you do is you sit here and you keep with the breath. Every time the mind feels it wants to sort of wander, or your intrusive thoughts of the day-to-day grind start to come in, your mind's starting to drift. So what we need to do is return it back to the breath. We can't stop the thoughts, but what we want to do is stop you engaging with the thoughts. So all we're doing is naturally just working in harmony, in sync. And as I say, we're now in the natural energy, and you just want to be sitting there, just naturally taking them breaths, and you'll find that your whole body's now just starting to sort of melt, if I could probably put it to you like that. And as you're just sort of melting and you're relaxing and you're comfortable, you're going to become aware of your own energy. And when we do mediumship, or when we do any connection for the spirit world, we have to be naturally aware of the power. This is your power. This is what powers your development. It powers your mediumship. It powers your mind to the other side. You should be checking in here at least once or twice a week and checking in with that energy and seeing how it's functioning. Is it erratic? Is it quite dull? Is it heavy? If so, then we need to address them things. Now, what we need to be aware of, that a lot of the psychic parameter is some of us and some of the human world. And what we have to ask the energy field is, and it will always answer you, is this mine or is it somebody else's? Now, if it's yours, then we have to then appreciate that there may need to be some changes in your awareness in order for you to be able to become a better power source to move the mind to go to the spirit world. If it's somebody else's, we're always in control of what comes and goes from our energy field. So what we just do is go, we are not interested in that, we don't want anything to do with that, send it back. And what will happen is it will naturally be returned back to its original sender, or it'll go back to wherever it is that it come from, because it doesn't belong to us. So for a few moments, I just want you to sort of sit there and make a mental note of your energy, a mental note of what it is it's doing. And using them two tools that I've given you, I'd like you to sit and just become aware and work with that energy frequency. Now what we're looking for here is a bit more of a lighter feel. We're looking for a little bit more of a comfort in that energy. We're looking for it to be more about the feeling of us. And in mediumship, it's really important we understand us, so we know what we're bringing to the table. When we know what we're bringing to the table, we know what we're capable of, we know where we can stretch more for spirit, we know what we can power through when we're doing any kind of communication. So here's a really good way to get very accustomed to your energy, understanding, how it flows, how it doesn't flow, what it does, what it doesn't do, where there's the potential, where there needs to be more work done in that energy field, so that we can be the best possible version we can for the spirit world. Now, we haven't gone anywhere yet at this moment in time. We're just naturally checking in with that breath, naturally looking at your energy. Now, it will make you aware that your energy will change, day to day, week to week, depending on your thought-based matter, and also the lifestyle and the interactions that you have with others. But your fundamentals of your power is always there, of what makes you, what's your core beliefs, what is your limitations, what isn't your limitation. The fundamentals of who you truly are is always within you. It just sort of gets clogged up with the day-to-day grind and other people and other things. So we always have a natural point to move from. We always have a natural point that we can work with, so that we have a fundamental basis in which that we build our spirit work on. Now, you may be asking why we're doing this and why this is so important. For all of the reasons I've just said. If our power is diminished in any way, then it makes our connection warped, it makes our connection interfered with, and it makes our connection not as strong and sturdy as it could be when we're doing our communications. So this is a really important aspect of any development. So I'd like you just to continue naturally breathing there. I'd like you to just, check in again now that you've done them few things, and see how that energy's changed, see how it's altered and shifted in some way. Does it feel different? If so, why so? As you're doing that, there now is an intention. And your intention is going to be, I'm going to connect to my awareness of the spirit world. Now, as that intention goes, is the mind's naturally going to move. Now, one thing you need to be looking for here, or one thing you should be aware of, is has the mind moved from left to right? And this is a very important step, and it's very important for a number of reasons. And I'm going to leave this one in the comments box, because I'd really like you to get back to me, for those who do this, and tell me, did it move to the right or to the left? Because as we move from either to the right or the left, it's going to give me a bigger understanding of where your connection to the spirit world is. So all I want you to do is to rinse and repeat this on a couple of occasions. I'd like you to understand you more and what you bring to the table with your energy, and what's maybe been, interfering or you've allowed into that oracle field. And then once your intention is in and keeping with the breath, I would like you just to say, I'm now going to my awareness of my spirit world. And your mind will either move to the left or the right. Once you've done that and you're aware of which side it is, I'd like you to come away, leave it at that, and leave your comments in the comments box of left or right, and then I will put the next installment of it up maybe next week. So I want to thank you for giving us your time. I'd like you to thank you for listening to me, and I'd like you to work very hard on this to see if you can improve your awareness of you in order to improve the power, in order to improve your connection to the spirit world. I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and I will see you all for the live next week. All right, thanks for taking the time to be with me. Welcome to the journey of your spiritual path, and I look forward to taking you on to the next step. Bye for now.